Good morning to everybody. Welcome to Romancing Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. Today we have a special guest, but first I would like to introduce the panel who's going to tell us about the guest. So I have Mr. Gerry Tamar, Mr. Floyd Bishop, also known as Peter Bishop, and Mr. Milton Coy. And our special guest is our O.E.C.S. runner from Petite Martinique, one of PBC's track and field legend, Mr. Martin Clement. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Morning, and thank you.
Good morning. So I have to start right off by saying a few things. I am from St. Andrews. I'm from Ledig, well, St. Andrews Parish. I'm from Ledig, and we big up O.E.C.S. And we know of the athletes from other places that either participated for PBC or GBSS, but generally we didn't like them. But in the spirit of romancing Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique, and in the spirit of intercall and all the fun times we had growing up, so we're all from the 80s era, kind of. I want to bring in other places, and especially Petite Martinique. I was talking to Eugene Liquish about doing a Liquish for O.E.C.S, and he said to me, there is one person, he said, I like the name of the channel, and there's one person you really need to talk to, if nobody else. Talk to Martin Clement, because Petite Martinique doesn't get enough of what it should get in the Grenada, Carriacou, Petite Martinique story. And I said, Petite Martinique had an athlete? And he said, yeah, the guy was really good. He went all the way to the O.E.C.S and we won. It was 4-1, I think. And we got the goal for Grenada. And I never heard that. So I got excited because I often wondered how to get Petite Martinique into the story. I've been to Petite Martinique in the 1970s. We went there twice, once with the church, once with a choir, and did a walk around the island. So it's over 30 years, over 40 years. And I'd like to welcome you, Mr. Clement. So I'd start with Mr. Tamar, who, when I managed, well, first, let me say, couldn't find anybody who knew you beside Eugene, who couldn't reach you. And I said, I'll start asking Carriacou people. I asked a few people, no, never heard of you. And then I said, let me try Mr. Floyd Bishop. And he said, yeah, I know Martin very well. I would do it, but I may have a problem with my internet getting fixed or my thing. So I said, well, I need to talk to somebody else who knows him really well. And I've been going through some PBC kids and I heard of him, but I don't know him. And one person called me and said, why don't you ask Tamar? They're supposed to be good friends. I called Tamar and Tamar said, yeah, I talked to him this morning. So I'm very happy. This is how the story goes. So I'll start with Mr. Tamar to tell me about Mr. Martin Clements and PBC probably.
Okay, well, first of all, I think I can go back a little further than that because we knew each other from primary school.
Ooh.
Yeah, we went to the same primary school. That was called then the St. George's RC Boys School, which was affectionately called Palmer School because the former Governor General, Sir Reginald Palmer, was the principal. And in those days, apparently, they used to call the school after the principal. So those like the generations before us, like our parents, would have called it Fletcher School because of G.W. Fletcher was a principal.
Right.
And then I think after Fletcher maybe would have been Mr. Palmer, but that's long before our time, you know. So it was affectionately called Palmer School, just as how you have St. George's Anglican being called Heinze School because it was named after Mr. Heinz, who was a principal. Yeah, so I knew him he and his brothers from then, you know.
But sorry, I'm glad you cleared that up because I've been here. I heard those names, but I thought they were private schools named after the founder.
No. Apparently, they used to call them after the names of the principals, you know.
Okay.
So you had Fletcher, and then it was Palmer, and you have
Heinz and okay.
And others. Yeah. Yes. So I remember him and his brothers coming to the school. His father was, I think, an education officer or somebody in education doing the practice teaching with teachers. So I knew the family Very well. And then we went into presentation college. And we always used to compete. I think we were not in the same house, so we were competitors in the in the school sports, and of course, well, after school sports, to join hands and hearts to beat GBSS and SAS. That's all, you know. Yes. So we were schoolmates, primary school, secondary school, and then we went to IFE, well, now it's called TAMCC, but nowadays it was called IFE. So we go back a few moons.
I like that you
You
said.
know, right, Martin? That's all right.
Yeah. Way back.
Back, So
Yeah.
they're saying that now that we're talking athletics and all of that, we have to take in context what athletics mean to Grenada, and the role athletics has played in Grenada and is played in Grenada. Um, Intercall is the only thing in Grenada, I think, besides Carnival, that can get traffic to stop, and work to stop. Okay, and I think, I don't know how that enthusiasm started, but I think may have been somewhere back in the 70s. And the thing is, that has paid dividends for Grenada, because we are definitely the best in the Eastern speaking Caribbean, at least when it comes to athletics. I mean, we don't have many Grenadians playing on the West Indies cricket teams, and we don't have many Grenadians playing professional football in London and so forth. But when it comes to athletics on the world stage, even in the American collegiate system, okay, we, of the small islands, the O.E.C.S, I mean, we are the dominating force. And we can see even our exploits at the regional Carifta games. I mean, behind Jamaica, Trinidad, who spend a lot more resources into athletics and so on that we could afford to. Our results, I mean, is almost per capita comparative. Okay? So the whole athletics scene and the intercall drama and all of that is very unique to Grenada. Someone tell me at Trinidad then said that that doesn't happen in Trinidad. In Trinidad, traffic was stopped for football. For football, for the interschools football. Yep. Yeah, whether it's presentation versus John D and Fatima, all those big schools in Trinidad. Traffic was stopped for football, but not for athletics. But in Grenada, traffic stop, work stop, pot turned down, all old boys, old girls back to the stadium every day. And that was so nice about Grenada. And I am very happy I came through that. I look back at even my intercall days with some pride and glory. Wish I could do it all over again. And for Martin, who was who went on further, I mean, it's nostalgic. It's so nice. You're running on the grass barefooted. Spikes was a rare thing,
Yeah.
I have some pictures to show later. I saw the PBC boys in all blue spikes. So I'm wondering if the school gave it. But we'll talk about that later.
Okay, so it's not good for it. I'm happy for him. I'm happy to be a part of this program. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for being here. So let's start with Mr. No, thank you, Tamar. Well, I'm used to calling you Tamar. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
That's my name.
So, Floyd, Mr. Bishop, what can you share about Mr. Martin Clements?
Not very much as Mr. Tamar. Martin was ahead of the time and still is ahead of the time. But I mean, coming from Carriacou and the connection Carriacou and Petite Martinique, which is close, because we sometimes think we are different from the mainland, really, in terms of how we think, in terms of how we behave, our culture and everything. But so I knew Martin from that connection and so on. The one of the things that strikes me always about Martin though is the humility, because if he doesn't know Martin's achievement, you won't get it from him, because Martin doesn't know who will tell you about his achievement. So you'll be with Martin, and if somebody tell you Martin was this outstanding athlete, Martin will not tell you that. You see, so that have always struck me about him, his humility and so on. I mean, I knew his father because, as Tamar said, his father was an educated officer, but he was also, I think, in my time, the district officer in Carriacou. And in fact, he rented my uncle's house when he stayed in Carriacou. Yeah, so I think.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Yes. So yes, exactly. So I I'm sorry, but Martin, I mean, as I said, Martin was obviously a couple ahead of my time, but the connection I knew from him is from the Petite Martinique Carriacou connections and so on. And I learned that, and because I follow sports, and that Martin was this outstanding athlete and so on. And I mean, it is an honor that a small place as Petite Martinique could have produced an athlete like that. And what is sometimes one thinks about is what would have happened if we had gotten the attention, we had gotten all the facilities and so on. If we had gotten the attention we deserve as a people, because I will say this here and now, I still think we are third class citizens in the state of Grenada.
I should interject. My mom is from Carriacou.
Well, which is nice. So then you're first class and you're third class.
I'm both.
But you know, on a serious note, but I mean, it's nice that Martin could have break the ice and be a trendsetter for us from Petite Martinique and Carriacou and so on, because I think there was another athletes from Carriacou some stage later on who have done good work in terms of athletics and so on. Carriacou have now own his own in different regards and so on. I mean, we see quite a few Carriacou now going to Jamaica schools and enhance which is all good for the development of the sport and so on. So I pay tremendous respect to Brother Martin Clement.
Thank you. And just to add to what you said, when Eugene told me about Martin and you said he doesn't speak of this himself, he said to me, you can't do a one-on-one with Martin because he doesn't talk very much. So you have to get people to talk about him because he wouldn't say anything for himself. And he said, make sure you have a lot of questions because you got to pull it up. So I got the tip, and that's why I was so desperate to find as many people to talk about Martin as possible. So thank you for that, Mr. Coy. What do you have to say about Martin in terms of his achievements as a Petite Martinique person, in the Grenada Carriacou Petite Martinique community, but in the Petite Martinique context?
Okay, this is very interesting because my recollection of knowing about Martin is way back when I was with the Grenadian Voice newspaper several years ago. At one time, I did sports. I had a column on the newspaper, sports by Milton Coy, and I gathered all the releases and so on. And I recall, since we spoke and I started to reflect on those things, I recall reading about, the name did not much ring a bell, but the fact that Petite Martinique came up kind of stood out to me, but I never followed it up, and that's the truth. Because, in those times you're doing everything, also you cannot really take the time to go into specific areas. But I recall that the fact that Petite Martinique was represented, and if I'm not mistaken, I think I even drew it to Mr. Pierre's attention at the time, but nothing happened. And so I'm saying it is interesting because here I am, some 35 years later, 40 years later, coming up with this again. And now I have the opportunity to actually do what I wanted to do many years ago. So I'm bringing that. I'm saying that's what I know. But of course, I'm also like to know more, and I've read more, I've listened more to about Martin. His father I knew in Carriacou, in the education area. As Floyd just moved. I remember one time he stayed at my uncle's house. That's also my uncle. So I know him, know him around and so on. But that's where I think Martin, in my mind's recollection, reflection, sees him as that person who really was outstanding and athlete. Of course, yes, all the things linked. PBC boy, yeah. And in those days, that kind of rivalry and that kind of outstanding abilities. So yeah, I will have something else to say really in regards to the issue of intercall, because I realize that is coming up a lot, So whatever I'm saying, that's my Martin. Well, thanks. They say never. One day you'll find out.
Yeah.
This is a Carriacou saying I learned one day Congo tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much. Mr. Martin, you sent me lots of pictures, and I also understand that to be part of the character, you'd rather the pictures speak than the words. But you're gonna have to tell us a little bit about you, because I've searched the O.E.C.S, and the O.E.C.S only keeps the most recent records. The records not broken. So I can't find you. I Googled your name, I can't find you. It's very hard to find Grenadian athletes. And even what Tamar said about intercall, we stop the traffic, even seniors, elderly people are at home listening on the radio, because I remember when my parents and them, even when I was in primary school, were coming home and we getting the news from people who'd listen on the radio. Because, we always had an interest there with the rural school. We don't, after the day, it's like, what have you done for me lately? After that excitement and the goosebumps and the electricity, and you go home singing and chanting, and tomorrow comes, and if you don't run again, that's it. Everybody forgets about you. They forgot that electricity you had flowing through them, the romance they had with you on that day is over. And I think we need to we need to relive the spirit. We need to bring it back. We need to pay attention and elevate the trailblazers, the legends. Kids need to see this too. The young people need to know, especially in Petite Martinique. I was in Carriacou, and I look at the Petite Martinique kids that go to Bishop College and in Carriacou. And there are lots of kids there. And I always felt sorry for them. I felt like Petite Martinique is almost like an independent island. Like, we really don't know, even as Carriacou, you really don't know what's happening there. And I see the kids in a group by themselves. I don't see them interacting with other Carriacou kids and so on. And it hurts that Petite Martinique seems so far away, when in fact, maybe it's the easiest place to build a bridge between Windward and Petite Martinique. if you had, people can just lay down rocks and we would get there. The government would even have to get involved. So I'm very happy you were able to do that. And then I asked you, I said, what was it like when Petite Martinique people got to know you've burning up PBC trails, and now you're on your way to the O.E.C.S, and you said, not much people in Petite Martinique know that about me. And it broke my heart. I want to share some of the pictures. I'm going to share the screen, and maybe you can start by telling me what's happening, what race and so on. And then slowly we'll get you to tell us a little bit about yourself and your accomplishments. Is that okay?
Sure. That's okay. Yeah.
Thank you. Is there anything you want to say before? I usually have an issue sharing screens. I've been doing it over and over, but it still gives me an issue. So if you want to tell us maybe a little bit, as Tamar said, you started in Palmer School. So you left Petite Martinique, or were you guys living in Grenada?
Pardon?
Were you
we lived in Grenada.
You lived in Grenada?
Yeah, we lived in Grenada.
Because
But
your dad
I
was
went to school. I went to Leicester School at first, where my father was principal, and then he moved to Grenada to be a tutor at Teachers College.
oh,
And then so the smaller ones went to Palmer School, the others went to Convent and PBC. Yeah.
I also want to ask, because we have a friend here. I have a friend here in Toronto, and I sent you asking you if this was your brother, because I understand you're from a large family. And you said it's
Very large.
you said he's a cousin, and then I said he also went to PBC. So is it for religious reasons you chose that you're in that school, or just because your parents liked it, or is it PBC a Petite Martinique thing?
Not really. It's just, well, traditionally PBC. Well, my parents probably liked it because the discipline and the standards that was kept at PBC, you know, compared to the other schools.
So it's not religion either.
No.
Okay.
No.
So I'm gonna share the screen now, and we can talk a little bit about the pictures. Okay. I always do this. I pull up the screen before I share. Sorry. So I had to put the pictures on. We're sharing, yes?
Yeah.
That was a program. That was a program. The cover of a program for 1987 after I left.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
And
You're in
and
here.
that was myself. That was myself in the white. In the middle was Vanny Cohen. He's now the Inspector Superintendent Vanny Cohen, and the other person with his hands up was Kenrick De Silva. I think the other picture was Franklin Filbert. If Gerry, I know if Gerry remembers that.
The physique.
It looks like Franklin
looks
Filbert.
like him,
Yeah.
Physique.
Yeah, the physique looks like him, yeah.
And I think you're still a record holder, because I have the other page from this book, but it looks like it didn't come up how I expected it to come up.
The short put, I think that senior short put record is still there.
Yes.
Not too short. Yeah.
Here. You have, short put records.
Yeah, that was in 1985.
I'm looking to see if I see Mr. Tamar.
You may have to look a little further back.
Oh, you might be. Could be between 1 to 8. And so, just that you made the cover again in 86. So you're really trailblazer. Sorry, 87, and this is your Victor Ludorum.
For 86, yeah.
But you won it a few years.
Yes, yeah. The junior and senior.
Right. So you must have a record when it comes to holding that title.
For the one, no, not for the one, not for the 4x1. I think they were all broken.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's been quite a while, and you held it for quite a while, I'd say. So that's why we need to talk about you, and in terms of what you have done. And I know younger PBC students, when I ask about you, because I didn't know your age or what age range you were, but I would assume it was something close to Eugene, but it could have been a lot younger. And they all heard your name.
Close to Eugene?
No, I said.
Yeah, I was younger than Eugene.
Yeah, I can see 87, but I didn't know how much younger, or if so I didn't know that at all. He didn't know how much. So I started with the PBC kids I know now, and they've all heard your name. They've seen pictures and stuff, but they don't know you. So
I think the pictures, I don't know if they're still there, but there are pictures of the team, and some of the races were placed on the walls of the school.
Walls, yeah.
That's what I was told. That's what I was told. So they would know who who the person is on the wall, but they don't know you in person. And I think that's another thing too that our education system need to incorporate, because athleticism and sports is part of education. So they should have where, you know, for example, you are a legend in the school, you should be coming back and talking to the athletic team every now and then, or to the new students on orientation day. You sort of give them something to look up to. And I hope we can start raising programs like this. Mr. Bishop, you have something you wanted to say? Oh, sorry. I thought you were. So you for 3 years in a row, you won Victor Ludorum at PBC.
Junior, I think two years. I think junior and senior. My junior and senior year. Yeah.
Okay. So, congratulations. And I learned, because I went to Montrose SDA and we didn't have that. So I learned that from the SAS students. So because your guys' schools were more organized, and it's very nice that you had almost like an athletic department, it seemed, that you could set up awards and merits and so on that inspire kids to go on performing. And you went to the highest level. So now I'm going to go to the picture of you on the O.E.C.S team. What year is this?
Yeah, that's 86. That's in Antigua, 86.
How does it work?
We set the Grenada team set an O.E.C.S record that year for the 4x1. Yeah.
I'm going to come up with the picture, but before you got there, how did you get on the team? What qualifies you to get on O.E.C.S? Or does Carifta come before it? Does Wits and Tides come before it? Is there a step you follow the step?
No.
How does it go?
You just attend trials, national trials.
Oh, I see.
Once you take part in the national trials and you qualify, you enter the team.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice. It's good to know, because most kids, especially rural kids in St. George's, can see what's happening. Rural kids don't get to see what's happening. Floyd, where did you go to school? Mr. Bishop, you're muted.
The famous Bishop College.
Bishop College.
So
went to the family school.
Experience.
What's that?
They went to the family school.
Nepotism, I tell you. So so Milton also went to Bishop College Family School again, because we just learning him and Floyd are related. And we have, I would think, Bishop College and me from St. Andrews, we have the same sort of experience in that we have to learn by the way. Whereas if you're in the city school, you hear the athletes, you're amongst other athletes and you see what's happening. I couldn't just leave one day and say, I'm not going to school today because intercall is happening in St. George's, let me go see what's happening, or national training is happening, let me go down. In fact, I remember once we tried and we couldn't get a ride. We couldn't get a ride to the city. So you just had to squash the idea when we learned about it. But it's nice, and I'm glad we're talking about it. So even rural kids might have more information now, but there might still be some kids who need to hear these things, some young people who need to hear it. And I see somebody, this guy is Devon George.
Devon George, yeah. Devon George, I think the one, Devon George, myself, Trevor Modest is in the middle. And I think the other guy was a short putter, Anthony George.
Anthony George, yeah.
At the back, yeah.
So
Trevor Modest, Inspector Trevor Modest now, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I saw an interview with him. Yes.
He was a javelin, yeah. I think he has javelin records for the O.E.C.S, yeah.
Yes, I think so. I heard, he was being asked about it, but I didn't see his name, so I'm not sure. A close-up of you. You were quite tall. How tall are you?
I'm 6'2".
Oh, were you on the basketball team?
No, I never tried basketball. The only sport probably I never tried was basketball. Gerry was a good basketballer.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Well, Gerry, how
yeah.
tall are you? You are tall. I've seen you. You're quite tall.
I'm just a little over 6'2", maybe 6.5". Maybe just.
They say tall people get all the opportunities because you're above everybody else. They see you first. You have long legs. Versus us, we have to fight our way up there.
Yeah, we are the hardest people to hide, huh? You know?
Well, you can't have it all. So this is the O.E.C.S team, and Devon George was from Ledig, and he was the captain of SAS at the time. I think he was he a javelin or a discus? He was a thrower. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think he was a
discus. Short put and discus, I think. Devon, yeah.
Okay.
Short put, yeah.
So here we come to that record-breaking race you ran. Do you know the timing? Because it's not.
Yeah, that was. No, I can't remember the time, and no, Eugene didn't remember the time either. I don't know if Antoine might have it. David Antoine might know
okay.
the time. I'm not sure. Yeah.
All right.
But that was the team, the 4x1 team.
I can tell.
That set the record in Antigua. Yeah.
Somewhere I have the entire team here.
Yeah.
And I seen somebody on the team because Eugene told me you're not sure who this person is.
Yeah, but I think you didn't say his name was Gerry, I think. He was from I'm not sure. But I think you didn't say his name was Gerry.
Okay, and I seen another
Gerry,
guy.
that was one of the guys from the Western side, Shaper also. Remember there was a twin.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Twin, well, I think it was Gerry and something was the name. I can't remember. He was very good. I remember.
Well, it's nice to know.
Yeah.
It's nice who athletes are who represented us. And this was in 1987? Was it?
87, 88. That's Queen's Park. That's the old Queen's Park. I think it's 88.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
that was the last games at Queen's Park, yeah.
Oh, really? So it was the last games there.
Okay.
Thank you. And this guy here, I think it's a Maxwin from SAS.
Maxwin, yeah. He's Maxwin, yeah.
Right. Okay, so
yeah.
I have a picture of your brother's book there because when I was searching you up online, I found your brother's book and I bought it. And it's a great book on Petite Martinique traditions and social change, which it was very nice to have something on Petite Martinique in writing. I like to read books as opposed to online, so I can underline, write it up. So
yeah,
you sorry.
Yes, I was going to ask Martin. Certainly, what I'm seeing, what you have shown there, it reminds me of photos in those days that I said when I was with O.E.C.S before the 5, the 6, in those times. But Martin, it's interesting also to hear you link your peers. In other words, the guys like Inspector Cohen. I don't know if it's Inspector or whatever. Modest. Yes, Inspector.
Superintendent, I think.
Yes, superintendent. Right. And there are other guys who would have known you and are today in prominent positions. Now, if I see them, I'll ask them the same question. How did your experience then, your discipline of processing winning at the highest level help you to be who you are today? How did that experience of winning at the highest level, in our terms, O.E.C.S, help you, that discipline, help you to be who you are today?
Yeah, well, it's not only winning, but sports in general prepares you for your whole life in the future. With discipline, even with losing and coming back, perseverance, you know, not giving up, you know. That's just, yeah. You at a race, I mean, I've been in races that if I didn't think that I was going to reach the finish line at first, I would not have won the race because the guy's far ahead of you. But with your determination, you just put your effort, all your effort, and you get to the line first.
Yeah.
So sports it helps, it nurtures you, it molds you for your life in the future. Yeah.
So I have to go back then to a question. Is this
And being on the team with people like Eugene and Trevor Modest, they were police officers. So they were disciplined, you know, they were disciplined guys. So it was really a good experience, you know, being with them and among them, you know.
So let me ask,
Yeah.
to follow up. When you entered, did you start running? Did you know you wanted to be an athlete since you were in Palmer School? Or is it, sorry, before, Palmer.
No, we didn't have sports in Palmer School. We didn't have sports there. But yeah, when I entered PBC, we had houses.
Right.
I was in Blue House, Patrician. You had Patrician, Aquarian, Finbar, and what's the other one? Dominican. Yeah. Which house were you in, Gerry?
Aquarian, Red House.
Red? Well, Blue House. Patricia was always the winning house.
Well,
yeah.
But that's when we had a
dominated, yeah.
Yeah, that's when we had a bad
yeah.
Always like knowing about inside the school, inter-school sports, because sometimes, for example, in my other interviews, the top athletes ended up in the same house. But now it's nice that, you know, you end up in different houses. So a real competition can happen here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how I really started off from house games.
They just put you in a house when you get there. It's by a lottery. Yeah. And you decide.
Yeah, just put you in a house and then you compete for your house.
Right. So how did you start? What was your first race or track event? What event, track and field event were you involved? What were you doing? What did you do?
100, yeah. But I did all the races, but specialized in the 100 and the 4x1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you play basketball too?
I did all the races. I did the 4x4.
Sorry.
Pardon?
No, I remember you said you didn't play basketball. It was just Tamar.
No, yeah. I played cricket for PBC also.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, back then you always had to be an all-rounder.
Yeah.
Specialized field. You didn't just come in and you're only a track star. I was the only one actually because I didn't like being on a team. But most athletes in school participated in almost everything. So you're doing track, but you know, like nowadays they try to make it the kids specialize in the field to develop the sciences and stuff like that. What do you find? Do you find the way we did it then might have made a more all-rounded person, a citizen, versus now where it's just your narrow, you know, tunnel vision? And does that affect your personality or your attitude towards life? What do you think? Either one of you can answer.
I'm not sure, but you see, when you identify the ability of an athlete, I guess it's best to concentrate on their field, what they're best in, you know, than having them concentrate on other areas of sports. That's what I think. I'm not
So
sure.
do you think the way we did it inhibited you in any way?
No, not really. No, not really. Not really. But
But you
those days
understand technology.
we had no. There's no special person training for this or that. We were all rounders.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I am of the school of shouldn't place all your eggs in one basket sort of thing. So if you have the ability to be an all-rounder, I think, you know, you should.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But
Yeah, because I did all events on sports day. Yeah.
Did that take anything
that's
away
all.
from your studies?
Well, not really. Sports is just a boost. Health wise, you know, when you train, your whole body, your health system, your mind is works much better. Healthier body, healthy mind. Yeah.
So I want to ask Mr. Tamar, so you're in different houses now, on track and field day, or PBC sports day, and you see Martin on the field. What are you thinking? What's going on? Can you beat him? Tell me a little bit about.
Gerry trembling on the blocks, man, trembling.
no, actually, what you do in a situation like this, you just try to get as many members of your house to qualify for the finals, huh?
Right.
So you know, like in the 100, you know, that's Martin race. So you kind of see if you could get a second and a third. So your net points, is more than his. So if, even though he win and he breaks the record, at the end of the day, your host still gets more points than his host. So you looking to win the sport. You looking to win the sports, you know?
So it doesn't matter if he gets to be valedictorian.
You want to win the sports to get a big cake and thing, you know?
Yeah.
You have the best house. So
you guys got cake.
Yeah, so you can let him win. You can let him win the 100. You know, small price to pay. You know, you just make sure you have people who could get second and third.
Enough points, yeah.
Or more importantly, you have a very good team for the 4x1 because the relay was 10 points. Okay.
Woo.
And you try to get as much lead so that you give him a lot of work to catch up in the end.
Did you have 4x4 that time?
Yes.
Yes, we had 4x4 also.
4x1, 4x4, yes, in all divisions. Yes.
Yeah.
You know.
That's I 1 year I was made the house captain myself for Greenhouse. I was in Joseph House in Montrose, and we had puny kids. We had one good athlete, Deborah George, and we just decided everybody's going to get a point. You have to be in every race and just qualify, just place. Like qualify. The timing is important, and we get a point. And that's how we won, not because we had the Martin on the team.
Teamwork. Yeah, you have to.
Teamwork.
You have to ambush. You have to learn strategy and learn how to ambush the opponent.
I want to ask the Carriacou School, Mr. Bishop Colleges, Milton, what year were you in school?
I went in 1970 and I left in 75. That's in Bishop's College, yes.
Okay.
70 to 75. In those times, I mean, I am listening to Martin and Tamar speak about the experience. We did not have much of that at a school, of course. Athletics was not so much the thing. There are people, you know, who run, but it was certainly not like that. And what I'm hearing now is certainly interesting. Of course, being in Grenada after many years, thereafter, I realized, you know, some of those things really happened. And how Martin and Tamar are explaining it really is what, you know, as I observe, being in media, of course, and writing. So yeah, I wish I had those kinds of experience, but I don't know if I might have been a runner, but of course.
I think every Carriacou person is supposed to be able to run. You run into the donkey, the goat, the sheep, the cattle. Mr. Bishop, how was it? So you're about Martin's age?
Yeah, but I think I went to school in the early 80s myself. So
Right. Oh, so he would not have been an opponent. Did Carriacou School come down to Intercool?
I don't think
No,
much at
no.
all the stage. It's later down the road.
Later
Yes.
on
You see,
No.
you see, when I said to you that we taught class citizens, you don't believe me. You see, hear for yourself that we wasn't privileged enough to come down there. We was not privileged enough, you know. But what is also interesting though, what is interesting, we loan them a number of our people because PBC claim Martin Clement. Martin Clement is not mainland. Martin Clement is not there. You see, we loan them Martin Clement, and we loan them many other people over the years.
So I'd ask you to say thank you now, please.
You know what I mean?
But you know, but it's interesting, huh? It's interesting because Carriacou came in, if I may recall, maybe in the maybe the mid to late 80s. I can't remember, but it used to come as Carriacou combined. Okay,
Right.
two schools.
Mm.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then in recent years they separated and they came as individual schools. Okay, but in the last couple of years in Intercool, the Carriacou schools were a force
School
to
to
be
watch.
reckoned with.
Thank you.
Serious force to be reckoned with.
Thank you.
And the last Intercool, I believe that if they came as one school, they would have won.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I think so too.
One came third or something. So
Yes, someone came fourth.
and they
Yeah.
were two good athletes. There's a young lady, I can't remember her name now. Okay, just the last Intercool. I mean, that was outstanding.
And then,
You know.
Is
you know?
the Alvarez girl, the ones that's I think she's in Jamaica?
She said she shot through. No, there's an athlete. No, there's a runner as well.
Yeah.
She was blazing the trail.
I mean, and right now, I mean, as I said, in the last 4 or 5 years, the Carriacou schools, no walk over.
School to watch, yes.
Consider Carriacou
So-
in the mix.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is
I
true.
was talking to and I'll call his name Billy de Roche. Okay, you all know him. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Both our kids go to athletics training on a Saturday morning too. Okay, and he was reminiscing of his days. Okay, and he was saying that when he came down to Intercool, the sheer magnitude of Queen's Park, was already a psychological defeat.
Yeah.
From what he's used to in
Oh,
Carriacou,
yes. Thank you. Yeah.
and he could understand like a Grenadian athlete like going to the Olympics, and in a stadium with 100,000 persons, I mean, if you're not mentally strong, you lose already.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lose already. And of course, and back then we didn't have the synthetic track. You
No.
weren't barefooted on the grass track.
Okay, so
Yeah. Yeah, I met Trevor. Trevor came to PM once while he was in charge inspecting each other Carriacou, and he said to me, "Can you imagine if we had the facilities that athletes have now?"
Oh yes.
He said, "Boy, you might be landing in PM with your own helicopter."
No.
Because we had grass track with all kind of holes in it to run, We ran bare feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I sprained my ankle. My left ankle is still giving me problems today, and it's from after the invasion in '83. The US had tanks and all kind of thing in Queen's Park, and there was hump on the fields. Okay, and we traded, and I twisted my ankle on some of those humps there in the Grand Queen's Park, and it affected me to today. My left ankle, and that was the condition he had. We had to make use of it.
But I think one of the problem for me though with this whole thing with athletics and so on is the lack of respect paid to people who have paved the way and so on. And I've always remember the one that comes to mind, Eugene Licorice, having walked in the police force with him and so. I've never seen a person who has been so unrecognized. I mean, a guy who have given so much, not only just to athletics, but even to the very police force. And nothing has been given to you in the British. I think the country that gave birth to me is the most ungrateful country in the world. I really think so. Honestly, we find things to do for every other thing, but to honor our people, we have a fundamental problem. I don't know what it is. If it's old people drag my mama's, I don't know what it is. But it's something wrong. You know, honestly, it is the
we
most.
don't have a history of doing that at all.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to raise awareness too, because a few years back, there was a Brooch Grove, now I can't even remember his name, a guy from Brooch Grove who, a weightlifter. And on my way coming down from Granite Tang, and you hit me easy, and you see that nice big billboard. He was there, you know, welcome to the home of this athlete. I had pictures, now I lost them. And the next year, a few pieces of board, the paint was falling. The next year, a few pieces of board was falling. A year after that, it was just the frame, and I don't think
I know.
It's community. So we have different levels of neglect. Even when Martin said to me, Martin didn't really follow him. I'm thinking, my son plays football. He plays for Grenada as well. And when he comes home, on the airport, it's just 6 of us. We have a placard, welcome home, you know, and stuff like that. And I remember reading a book by Zig Ziglar, I think, that said, create a wall of fame for your kid. When somebody accomplishes something, it's not about showing up. It's you inspiring that person to keep going on when you give them the credibility they're due. But you're also inspiring the person behind them in seeing that there's somebody ahead of me doing it, I can do it too. If I need a mentor, this person is there. If I, you know, whatever I need, I have a partner, I have a mentor I can talk to. And that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this show. And I started with my mom because my mom is Mummy and Mom is from Carriacou. But I'm focusing a lot on athleticism because in Ledig too, we have about 5 marathonists that nobody remembers after a while. And they're on record books, like O'Neill Finlay is still on the O.E.C.S record book, but nobody remembers that. So I think some have to start a registry. I have a project called Who is Who. It is in my LADIG project, but I think on the Grenada scale now, we have to do things like this. We have to make sure our athletes are recognized because to be an athlete, it takes a lot. As Tima said, sprain your ankle and you still ran, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can't go and let my house lose a point. No.
Martin, I just want to ask a question in the form of observation, really. Did you say that you specialized in the 100 meters and the 4x4? 100?
4x1. 4x1. I anchored the team out last leg, 4x1. Yeah.
Does that remind you of Kiwani James? Doesn't he specialize in that area as well? I think
he's the 4x4.
By 4, and
he's the 400.
400. Okay, I just wanted to. But the idea of continuing your legacy, I think you all guys, and look at what's happening to Kiwani James now. I mean, he's evolving. Yes, you all guys need to put the foundation, the rock from which other outstanding students and young people can come up. So I'm saying that with all your achievements, with all those things that you have the knowledge, you have the experience, nobody can take it away from you. So I'm seeing you like providing that foundational, platform for others to go forward. Kiwani James too, and of course others too, Peters, So I'm seeing that as something going forward where the next generation can benefit.
Absolutely, and
mind you.
Sorry, go ahead.
Mind you, Carriacou Petite Martinique has a lot of ability where athletics is concerned. We just have to recognize it and nurture it. Actually, the last year I trained here in Petite Martinique for the games, for the O.E.C.S games, I had a young chap with me. Well, he saw me train every morning, so he joined in. And his name was Russell DeRoche. And that guy was so quick. He was on my heels. You know, I begged him, please come, let's go to trials. Let's go in trials. You're gonna make it on the national team. But he just didn't check. He just didn't believe. And was the way he was, you know, close. The way he was close in the sprints, he would have made it on the team.
But
You know.
you see, he didn't have.
So if we recognize the talent and nurture it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Need to nurture them.
But even if he had you ahead of him, if he'd known about you and what you've done so far, and just knowing that he can keep that close to you, he would have seen the talent in himself. The other thing though, for us non-city schools, I went to intercall twice. One of the times I qualified, and when the race came, I wasn't there because I went to look for a cousin to give me food because I was hungry, and there's nothing they provide. I know here in my kids' school, the athletes have their snack section. So the athletes can go get their water and their sandwich or whatever they need, and the rest of the people buy. But in our time, I don't know if it's changed, you had to provide your own food. So if you left home too early, because we went to school in Montrose, we're leaving home very early to go to Montrose to get the bus to go to St. George's. So we're leaving home about 5:30 in the morning. So you have your breakfast, no time to carry lunch. Or even if I did carry lunch, by 10 o'clock, I probably ate it. So I qualified, and then I went to fight. I was dying with hunger. They don't, I don't know now, maybe Tamar might know better, if they provide anything for the athletes, any athletes, refreshment for the athletes to have. So you don't have to go look for a cousin in the city to buy you some lunch.
Okay, no, but one thing I can say about athletics and intercall is that the schools are now very, very, very much organized, better organized and prepared. I think the whole thing has evolved. They know a lot of schools now have sports committee and all sorts of things, it's like special branches of the PTA and all that look into all of that. For presentation college, I know because I'm a parent there, they have, they have some ladies there that look after those children full time for intercall day. They get a uniform, they have breakfast, they have lunch for them, they have, and especially now that intercall is a 2-day event, okay, that management component of it has to be critical, okay, because they have different uniforms for different days and also. A lot of schools now go into camping, okay. Your athlete going the night before, the day before, and you sleep over. So you go to the stadium together, with one bus, you come back together. I know I have a friend who is a teacher at Wester Hall Secondary School, and she bothered me at the end of the day. Oh, we have to go to the fisheries to get the ice to give them the cold water shower, and so after the first day and all, So it's really organized. It's nothing like what we had before.
Okay, that's good.
Nowadays, you leave home and you come down to Queen's Park for 9 o'clock. You walk with maybe like a sandwich your mother give you, or you walk with a dollar to buy a soft drink or something. You know what I mean? And you let that carry out through the day. But the schools now are very much more organized. It's much more sophisticated, because I think, people are seeing the benefit of sports, and now that you have scholarships and so available, the schools have taken it, and not only the schools, but I think the ministry have taken it to a different level. Okay? Of course, there is much more that can be done, but it is chalk and cheese compared to what we going through. The organization and the preparedness is much, 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 much more sophisticated and very much more detailed and everything than it was in our days, and that's a good thing. So you missing a race because you're hungry and thing.
Not likely now.
That ain't happening today. That ain't happening
Okay.
today.
No.
As a matter of fact, no, school have more than one coaches. Nowadays was your games master doing everything. Now you have different coaches. You have like a whole coaching team. You know. I have a coworker who has a son in GBSS. okay, and he was a good athlete, and they did not enter him in the 100 meters, okay,
Mhm.
and she thought, well, that was his best event, and she was mad. Well, why they didn't? So she complained to the coach, and the coach said, no, it's strategy. We're not going to put him in the 100 meter. We send another guy because we're not going to sacrifice the 4x1. You see,
That's the
we're
most
not going to
points. Yeah.
sacrifice the 4x1. Okay, so maybe he can go and maybe win or come second in the individual 100, but they leave that there. They
For
go in and concentrate on the 4x1, which is now I think either 12 or 15 points. You see, so all these things are going into call these days. That is making it
sport.
so much more interesting than in our days. And I say the organization, schools are camping out. Schools are camping out. The athletes come in the day before, you let them home early, and they come back with a backpack and they sleep, and you have parents and teachers spending the night with them and cooking, and I mean, it's
But
totally different. It's totally
that's
different.
good. Is that
But
happening though in Carriacou and Petite Martinique?
oh
Oh,
no,
Well, I
oh
think
no.
so because Carriacou and Petite Martinique, they still come down and camp in Grenada. Okay,
Okay.
I don't know where they camp now. Okay, but for the last couple, from ever since they come down and camp. Okay, now I don't know what the internal organization in within their camp, but it can't be anywhere different. It can't be anything different because that's just how it is now.
let's hear Mr. Clement. What you say? What say you, Mr. Clement?
Mainly it's Carriacou. We only have a primary school here. We have no secondary school. So the kids that from here that would make it to the team to go to Grenada would go join with Carriacou.
Okay. But in terms
Yeah.
of
So
the primary school, do you have primary school sports though? You have
we used to, yeah. We used to. Yes, we used to. We actually I have a daughter that took part in inter-primary in Grenada at the stadium already. Yeah. So we used to. But the PM is facility.
You're lacking facility?
Yeah, I trained here. It was dirt road. The track was only about 80 meter. You could get 70 or 80 meter. And after that, you go into the sea.
Well, you had the beach.
Yeah, well, yeah, we did beach work. Yeah, the beach was good. That was a help too. Yeah, the beach. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Bishop, you know the situation in Carriacou now in terms of
Yeah, maybe he would know.
Let me come back to you. Give me a second. I'll come
They
right
have
back.
a stadium in Carriacou now.
Yes, I've seen that down in Lauriston area, right, Milton?
There's a stadium
Yes, in Lauriston.
in Lauriston, yeah, close to the airport.
Very pretty, especially from
I think from a Carriacou standpoint, I think more emphasis has been given to the management and organization of sports. There's a Ministry of Sports and there's an office at the stadium that deals with sports and youth and sports affairs. So there is more. And I also think, as I was listening a while ago, I was thinking that what would be nice also to sustain the gains that we've had in athletics and other sports. We as a people can also not just depend on the government, but NGOs, community groups, community organizations can ensure that that. I remember the days of growing up when you have a community sports club, and so on. And these things further enhance the efforts of government, because it's not all government's policy will not always be there. But the community policy of helping sport to build sport would always be there. It's not likely to change based on a community. So I'm thinking that that can also be considered in sustaining what we would have already had. The Martin Clements, those from Petite Martinique who we don't know, those from Carriacou. And also, lastly, I want to also observe that what I'm seeing happening here in Carriacou as well is that people have been introduced to a professional approach to athletics, to sports generally. Because it's not just a village thing, not just a community thing, not just an island thing, but opportunities are there for us to even shine on the regional and even on the international scene.
International, yeah.
Yeah, so we need to have a professional approach, and our youngsters must see that as part of the whole accomplishment, discipline, etc., etc., etc. So I'm just making those comments in that regard.
Okay, Mr. Thank you. That's so true. I made a note here because it's something we should look into. Mr. Clement, from your end, you have, do you coach anybody? Do you have, how do you transfer what you went through? Because you have a lot of athletes. I think Petite Martinique is booming now in terms of youth population. What's going on in terms of sports there? You say you used to have primary school sports. So is it because of COVID? You don't have it anymore?
Not really. There was a problem with teachers and sports and some problem, and they stopped having sports, and then COVID, came by. So for now, it's just nothing's happening. Yeah.
Because we need to include Petite Martinique more in the story, and not all. I don't think all the kids in Petite Martinique will be able to go to school in Carriacou, Grenada, because there are some people who just may not be able to afford it.
So who wants to go? They go. Government covers transportation by boat every day.
Oh, that's very,
going and coming. So
I thought it was a private enterprise. Oh, that's great.
No. Government subsidize the travel between here for school, for secondary school. Yeah.
What about the dropouts? There might be good athletes, as the person who was training with you that time, that haven't finished school for whatever reason. Is there any avenue for them to be able to develop their skills? Like, do you have anything, for example, or do you try to reach out to anybody? I know you don't speak very much about yourself, but maybe it's time to let people know what you have and how you can help. Is that something you probably can do, or do you offer from time to time a little bit of advice?
Yeah. Now and then, well, to athletes you see that have potential, you put them aside and you try to let them see that during my time is totally different from now, and the opportunities they have now is much greater,
Yes. Yeah.
You get a scholarship, you get an education at the same time while you're taking part in athletics, So that's a future there for you on time.
Yes.
Yeah.
We still need to, because even athletes, and I think I remember FIFA having a big drive on mental health and mental illness, because athletes, I was told once, an athlete is the most playful person you'd ever meet in the world. And they have this kind of bubbly, always friendly, always looking for praises. You might have a different characteristic, but generally athletes are people that love to be loved. And when we just let them down, when they lose one race, or they're no longer, their name's no longer there, they just get let down. Is there anything we have, for example, and I know as Grenadians, we're strong people. So, we might say they can go wherever if they don't care about me anymore, but young athletes today seem to be a little bit softer. And I think they always would need that balance, that mental health balance to make sure they're always taken care of and they have a future place. Grenada has a place for them in the future, even after they're no longer athletes. What do you see? How can you help an athlete now who's gonna be saying, well, look at what they did to the guy in Go, for example, I can't remember his name. Look at what they did to so-and-so in St. David's. And as soon as you're not performing anymore, that's it for you. How do you encourage a young athlete to go ahead? Because there are some kids who look at that and let that hold them back. What would you tell a young athlete?
Well, I think they have a much more support system now than we had. They have psychologists. That our coaches had to be everything, and that's who we shouldn't forget also.
Right.
Coaches like Conrad Francis, Vida Bruno, George Robinson. You know, those were the people that encourage you to go ahead, to continue trying and for excellence, you know. And when you lose, you get up and you go again. You know, you don't just give up.
Or you choose to be the difference. You choose to go to break the boundary, break the barrier.
Yeah. But I think most athletes don't really go into thing like that because once you're an athlete, you learn to lose and get up and win again.
Okay. That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's over until I.
Yeah. It's just the nature of the beast you're dealing with, man.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, the American sprinter Tyson Gay ran. He has the second fastest 100-meter time. Okay, behind Bolt. Okay, he was a world record holder at one time. Okay, and I was watching a documentary on his performance on that particular day, and he did that time, which was absolutely remarkable at that time back in 2000, early 2000 or whatever. Okay, and he ran that because he got a bad start. Okay, he got a bad start, and I guess in that millisecond it dawned on him, oh gosh, you know, I'm behind. Okay? And there was a doctor giving all kind of clinical analysis of what would have gone through his mind and adrenaline rush and all sorts of things. Okay? And he ran that race, and that was world record, the fastest time that stood for a little while. Okay.
Yeah,
So once you are an athlete or maybe a sports person in general, okay, there is and not only athletes to musicians too. Okay, there is this burning desire from deep within to be the best, produce the best, you know, and that in itself, along as you have a certain passion for that field you're in, that is enough to drive you to do, I mean, some multiple things. Of course, I mean, you get let down too, you know, I mean, from time to time, but generally, that is just the nature of the beast you involved in, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that part of it.
Dust yourself out and get back at it. Yeah.
So I think we've done a nice bit here. We've come close to the end of the time. So I just want to say thank you. I will start with you, Mr. Clement, in terms of moving forward for young athletes, but even for yourself, given from the position you are, I know it's probably not one of the pillars that really hold you up where you are today, or it doesn't seem so to people because they don't know what you did. But do you believe like what you've accomplished as an athlete helps you in moving forward day to day, in dealing with obstacles, in dealing with people, in even putting business or whatever it is together?
Of course. I could attribute being involved in sports to where I am today. Yeah, totally. In all different aspects, you know, in dealing with people, in losing and still being friends with who beat you, and then yeah,
it's a very good one.
Yeah. But Gerry and I mean, Gerry, I mean, I've beaten Gerry so many times already. We still close in touch with each other, man. Yeah.
Was there anybody who ever beat you?
Listen, there's this one race I would really like to rerun.
Yeah.
Right? It was a 60-meter dash, right? And there was this guy that well, they say he beat me on the team. Fletcher. His name was Graham Fletcher.
Graham.
And that, I could never forget. And a 60-meter was my race.
And
And
Graham was a non-athlete, huh?
and Graham wasn't even an athlete, you know. And well, they say he beat me on the team. Well, if he ever sees this, I'll tell him one day, no matter what his age, I'd like to take him on in a 60-meter.
We'll arrange it. We'll arrange it.
Yeah.
So he probably threw his nose forward. Maybe his nose was longer than yours.
Well, maybe something like that.
Was that a race or an intercall race or what?
No,
race?
no, in the house, the school
Inter-house.
sports.
We definitely can walk on that one. We can do it. We run that one.
Yeah, I want to meet him in our old boys race one of these days.
Oh yeah, true. There are old boys race. You're gonna have to go down. That could be an event, the old boys race.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But thank you very much for sharing your story with us. I'm really happy you were able to put Petite Martinique in the story. I haven't found very many other Petite Martinique stories that we can emulate. We have the cultural aspect. We have your brother's book. But in terms of sports, you are a trailblazer. You've broken through. I am still in shock. I don't have words. I've been looking in the dictionary for words to describe you. And to see you're in Petite Martinique still. You didn't live and go to Europe or America or anything. You're still there and you're able to influence people in the community. I would like, I usually ask everybody in the panel to give you a parting gift because you've given us much. I can tell you give a lot to PBC. I see you made the brochure days even after, like years after, you still held the records even after school and so on. So I'll ask Mr. Bishop, in terms of Carriacou, because if you stayed in Carriacou and went to school in Petite Martinique and went to school in Carriacou, you may never have reached that level back then. Now it's different. So I'll ask Mr. Bishop, because I'm seeing you first on my screen, to give Mr. Martin Clement a parting gift. If you can give him something for the contribution he gave us, what would it be?
That's a good one. Because Martin is still a very active member of his community. I think the best thing I can give Martin is public acknowledgement and recognition for his tremendous contribution he has made. I just say breaking through from Petite Martinique. Less than is it how big is it? Martin?
586 acres.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And this guy have broken through the thing and within the state of Grenada, held this thing for years and so on. Tremendous. The greatest gift we can give him is public recognition and at some stage we could put something in Martin's name. At some stage, if we ever put nothing in the old man age, you think we'll put something in the young boy age name? Because his father was a tremendous educator for years,
And for his parents too, we have to be thankful.
And so on, and so I think we just need to. I think Martin, the humility of the brother, all he would ask for is public acknowledgement that I've paved the way and so on. Give me some respect when you see me. Give me some respect. That's all I think he would ask for.
Mr. Tamar, thank you. Floyd, what would you give to Martin? Because we really appreciate the contribution he made. And inside PBC, you know what that meant.
Okay. Well, I'll first of all start by endorsing what Bishop said. Okay. But also, from a school perspective, I knew there was a lot of pictures of past teams and outstanding individuals all along the corridor and so forth. And I think it started with Ivan and some of the thing, and they were taken down. And the principal always say, "Okay, we plan to put it back up. We plan to put it back up. We plan to put it back up." And a lot of those pictures have not yet been replaced. I think is a good, I would like to say that good gesture, that you put them back up, so people can see. I mean, there was a class, there was a picture of the first PBC class back in 1946 or 47. You know, so there were pictures of all with people like Morris Bishop and so in their school uniforms and so forth. Those sort of things. I think it's part of the schools and Grenada history that I think should really try to be reestablished on the walls. I mean, when my son was going into presentation, I make sure and walk the halls and make sure my picture was up on the wall still, but of course it wasn't there. It wasn't there. I mean, how do you think it would be feel for a son to come and see his father's,
A
picture
sense of pride,
on the
absolutely.
wall there? So these are projects I would like to see um, redone, especially in our school, where I know we were both, our pictures were there prominently, you know, because I he was there for athletics and intercall, but I was there also for basketball and sports, you know,
But
you know. So I maybe that's one piece. I maybe I beat him. I would have more pictures up on the wall, on the wall, So these are so off the top of my head, if I can suggest anything for him, is that I would like to see back up being, because it's just part of our history and it's something that we ought to cherish.
Just to add to that, I'm very happy though to hear that PBC and maybe GBSS has that. From me, from a country school, we didn't have that. We don't know who were the athletes before us, except they tell us. And I'm sure athletes behind, especially in country schools, because we don't have the facility or the space. The school, I don't know right now, but in my neighborhood, there have been no new schools built. So I fully endorse this wall of fame, because you not just your kids, but other kids would say, "That's Mr. Martin. Look at this man in the neighborhood, and he went here." It's a sense of pride,
Right, yeah.
and it's there for prosperity. They can always say, "I knew this man," even if, for me, once like I know you all now, whatever you do, it instills pride in me. It's giving me goosebumps just to think about it. So I agree with that. And that is something probably we have to look into. But even in community, it can be Petite Martinique on the tourism book, Petite Martinique, home of Martin Clement. So, because in tourism, we have to embrace everything,
Yeah.
not just the sand and the sea, which every other island have, and the sun. We have people, or human capital, or culture, or heritage, the people that's building our communities. We need to endorse them too. We need to keep them there for prosperity, for their kids, for the neighborhood, for the country. I'm just going to add that to you, because I don't want to forget Mr. Coy. What parting gifts do you have for me?
I do endorse. I'm endorsing all the different ideas. I don't think too much to give Martin at this time. I have this crazy idea as I was thinking about what can I really give to Martin. I've been listening to the story, and particularly within a Petite Martinique context. Take it within the context of Petite Martinique, Carriacou, and Grenada. I think the family legacy is outstanding. His brother had a book. His father was the education officer, outstanding, and I'm sure his brothers, other brothers. So here's what I think, that as we evolve, we meaning Petite Martinique people evolve. I'm sure one day there might be a institution on the island that can serve the people of Petite Martinique, and they don't have to go down to Grenada per se. I would like, for example, might start with a junior secondary, like what we had here in Carriacou at one time, a junior sec. And I would like to name it after Martin Clement for his contribution to the students I mean, his father did generally Grenada and so on and so forth, Carriacou. But in terms of on land, on location, Martin Clement, I think, could be the name of the to be established Petite Martinique Junior Secondary or the Martin Clement Petite Martinique Junior Secondary School. That's what I would like to
Even
see.
the recreation center. It could be the Martin Clemens Recreation.
Whichever, something.
Yes. So
Name it. I mean, here we want for that.
thank you, thank you. Thank you to the panel, Mr. Clement.
Oh, let me also sorry, I know you would, but also say I look forward to my start telling my grandchildren what they do have to visit that institution in Petite Martinique, because Petite Martinique is going to be so much integrated into the lifestyle of Carriacou that we will be just one people, Carriacou and Petite Martinique.
And Grenada. We can't forget, it's a tri-island state. And I'm very grateful to the panel who has been here. Mr. Clement, would you like to say anything before I give you my final thank you?
I'd like to say thanks for having me, for holding this program, recognizing those who contributed to Grenada in athletics and sports in general. I think, yeah, most should be done to recognize those who contributed. You know, not only athletes, but coaches who gave their time without pay, you know, and paved the way for those today. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
And well, Petite Martinique, we have a lot of ability. We small, but there's a lot that Petite Martinique people contributed to Grenada and to the diaspora. You know, we have well, I think Mr. Bishop will know there's a street named after someone who represented us in the UN, Stanislaus. Yep, he was from Petite Martinique. And yeah, I have my brothers, the professors, they have their doctorates in mathematics, tutors at Brooklyn College, FIT. We small, but if you really check it out, Petite Martinique has contributed a lot to Grenada and internationally.
Yeah, to the States.
Yeah, we need, I think, we need more recognition in Petite Martinique, well, and Carriacou.
I absolutely agree. And I think more inclusion,
Yes, yes.
So I thank you very much for starting this conversation, for opening up my eyes, because Petite Martinique was an area I find that was really neglected. I know there are some travel shows now that start showing the cultural side of Petite Martinique, but that's not all that Petite Martinique is about, and that's not all we have Petite Martinique have.
Yeah.
So it's really good. I want to thank you for agreeing to this, because I was told you're a very shy person, and I'm glad you opened up a bit here today. I'm happy you had pictures still, because most don't have their pictures to share, so that can even be in a museum somewhere, because so people know who you are. You know, your children, your great-grandchildren, they would see great-great-grandfather, oh, that's him with his medals and so on. I thank you for representing Grenada and all that good feeling you brought to us, the enthusiasm, the praises, you because you made us recognize you guys won a record. And I don't know if maybe it was expected even. And the feeling that the pride you brought to the country in a whole, and then the spirit you kept living in PBC, the competition and the friendships. Thank you very much. And thank you for waking us up to including Petite Martinique in the Grenada story. So it's not just Grenada. And even in talking here, we talk individual, but we meant the state of Grenada. So including the 3 islands. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Have a very good say now.
You should thank Eugene for convincing me to do this.
Yeah, I thank Eugene for, oh, he convinced you. I thank Eugene for me to know about you. And I thank Mr. Bishop for getting your number for me. And if I'd known you and Timo were friends, I also could have asked Timo, but I thank Timo for being here today because you were competitive. He was you were his competition, and it's
Yeah.
that you're friends. And in different houses too.
True, yeah.
So thank you all and have a very good day. Thank you, Mr. Coy.
Thank you very much. You
Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
take care.
Thank you very much. All the best.